A couple of weeks ago, I enjoyed a simple delight. It was rather spontaneous, not very expensive, something I usually do not do, and in the case of a couple weeks ago, exactly what I wanted. I went to the movies all by myself. I saw The Chamber, a new movie that depicts the gathering of Catholic cardinals after the Pope dies, and the gathering is for the purpose of selecting a new Pope. I got to choose the movie I wanted to see without any negotiating. I got to see it at a time that worked perfectly for me, and I got to pick the seat I wanted to sit in without considering anyone else's preferences. I ate my favorite movie candy and enjoyed a drink. The whole thing was terrific. And I left the movie theater with a big smile on my face. While I will not share too much about the movie, I can say that it asks the questions you'd expect a movie about the Catholic cardinals to ask. That is, do their behind-the-scenes actions align with their outward appearance and the expectations of holy behavior and comportment? Or are they like the rest of us, flawed and struggling humans doing the best they can and launched into roles and identities that impose an impossible expectation of holy and perfect living? The movie brought to mind an old anecdote. It is told that when a new building was being planned for the Vatican, the architects submitted drawings to the Pope. They were returned with a simple comment: non sumus angeli. We are not angels. The architects couldn't figure out what the Pope meant until someone pointed out that the plans did not include bathrooms. This little chuckle often highlights the fact that being human means we have limitations. Obviously, the limitations of our bodies, but also those of our spirits, of our souls. We are beings with ambivalent feelings, which we make mistakes as well as we do good. While made in the image of God, we are not God, but simply people. And others are imperfect human beings just like us. Like us, those around us at times are wise and foolish, angry or calm, and everything else from the human range of emotions. And there is no hiding this reality when dealing with people. We get the good and the not so good. Being human also means having great potential. We can and often do achieve and engage in extraordinary things. We write poetry, paint pictures, build buildings, craft stunning melodies, and allow our voices to soar, evoking in ourselves and others a deeper spiritual connection and awareness. We do many things, both great and lasting. But the most important thing we do is help each other. According to Rabbi Bernard Raskus in his book, Heart of Wisdom, to be human in its highest sense means to care about others. As a new parent many, many years ago, I searched books and articles and websites galore in hopes of honing in on my philosophy of parenting. What would be the attributes or skills I would emphasize or highlight? What would I let go? I wondered, should I prioritize intellectual pursuits, athletic development and acumen, artistic exploration? It all felt so overwhelming. And I recall one directive that always stuck with me, one that rose to the top, and that was reserve your highest words of compliment and praise for when your child does something to help or express care for another. This resonated with me because in my mind, nothing is more important. They may be terrible at math. They may never be able to run a mile. Perhaps they can't even draw a stick figure. But if they care for others, if they do something to help someone else, That is the most important. Helping and caring for others is the core of our humanity. It is our goodness. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Vayera, it opens with God appearing to Abraham as he was sitting at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing near him, and as soon as he saw them, he ran to greet them and welcome them with the most gracious hospitality, bathing their feet, offering them a prime spot in the shade to rest, and even some nash. Abraham and Sarah greeted the angels, those whom they did not know, those who were strangers to them. As the visitors sat and rested, the emblematic host rushed around, scurrying to make fresh cakes and slaughter a choice animal to feed and nourish their guests with the, "Oh, you're not bothering us, we're happy you're here" attitude. And all with the sun beating down on poor Abraham, who was just days out from circumcising himself. The Torah is clear, and the rabbis' commentaries are rich with lessons and instructions taken from these verses of Torah. We learn from this parsha what it means to be gracious and welcoming to strangers and guests. Our ancestral patriarch and matriarch demonstrate what it looks like to reach beyond ourselves, even when we're not feeling well, even when it's hot outside, even when it's inconvenient and costly. They establish for us a model of doing for others, and the mandate is clear. To fulfill our destiny of being a blessing, we must express care for others in ways gracious and generous. It is who we are. It is the stuff we are made of, to be people who engage in hachnasat orchim, welcoming the guest. We do this by caring for others and giving of ourselves with a whole heart. It is easy these days to be disillusioned by the angst, upset, and struggle that we see in the world around us. But by welcoming the guest, by extending ourselves to others, we combat the negativity and help to recalibrate the goodness that is in the world. It is not just good for those that we welcome, feed, and nourish. It is good for us. It soothes out our rough edges to open our homes to others. It reminds us that we have so much to share, even when we feel like maybe we don't have enough. There's always going to be enough when we share. We have so much to give. A life with people is a life of blessing. Pirkei Avot, a compilation of ethical teachings from rabbinic tradition, instructs us, let your house be open on all sides to guests. And the Talmud asserts that whoever welcomes guests like he welcomes the divine presence is blessed with divine presence. And so on this Shabbat and in the days ahead, let us open our homes and our hearts to one another and to God, to welcome in the goodness of blessing, of friendship, and of love. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.